And as we mentioned, this is the introduction of former President Clinton and former First Lady and Senator Hillary Rodham Clinton as they make their way to the Rotunda platform. Normally this...
So I could see Mr. and Mrs. Clinton arrived
onto the inaugural platform, that majestic platform, which for now, which took months to build, is just gathering some snow.
It's a great feeling to be introduced coming down that platform. I will tell you that. I'll also mention that President Clinton and Mrs. Clinton were, of course, there 8 years ago. They came to the lunch, the very small 200-person lunch afterwards. And President Trump specifically expressed his gratitude that they were both there and for their service to the country. It's that kind of moment when a lot of things are put aside. Sometimes they're pretty quickly recaptured. But this is a day that's more about democracy than party.
And as we mentioned, these are members of Donald Trump's family that you just saw there, and former President Barack Obama.
You guys see Michelle? Maybe she was with Shannon Sharp or something. I don't know. Let's go ahead.
Obama heading to the Rotunda platform, not joined by Michelle Obama.
AP in the chat says he still had that swag walk.
She did not also come to Washington for the funeral of Jimmy Carter, just recently celebrating her birthday.
Presidential Inaugural Committee.
If you're just looking at it and seeing everyone else walk in with their wives, then it does look unusual. But knowing that Obama was a strong supporter of Kamala, it doesn't, right? It was many reasons she couldn't have been there. Maybe she was sick. It was just her birthday. Maybe she was gone. Maybe she just told Barack, I don't want to go to this. I don't really support him. I want to act like I support him. And Barack was okay with it. I just read something that says that he shut down a rumor stating that they split and he shouted her out for her birthday. So I don't know if it's too strange of a thing. Also, like you stated, she was just on a tour, right? Going across the country for her book. She also was traveling around just speaking to different people at different speaking engagements. So she could have been doing that as well and thought that was more important than her supporting someone that she doesn't support.
I'm not so much tripping about her not attending. I think what would have made more sense if they both didn't show up. We saw pretty much everybody on the left drag Trump through the mud, call him all type of names, made it clear that they don't like him, they don't support him, so on and so forth. So to me, it would have made more sense that, okay, if you're not going to go, then we're not going to go. We're going to stand in this together. But the fact that he went and she didn't, regardless if she was on a book tour or wherever, in my opinion, this is something that you know is going to happen on this date. So as a family, as a unit, as the first Black family, it would only make sense to show up either together or not at all. But I don't blame her for showing up because, again, they dragged them through the mud. So just how everyone blew up on the one guy not shaking Kamala's hand, clearly he didn't like her. If I don't like you, I'm not going to shake your hand either. So if I don't like you and I don't support you, then I wouldn't show up, especially, again, if you went to the extent that they did. I wouldn't show up to the inauguration either. But I think with it being a split thing, that's where the issue comes into play. Because it's not just about you, Michelle, and your ego. It's about what it is that we look like as a unit and the example that we're setting for other Black people.
I was reading this article from March 7th, 2023, where Michelle Obama said that she basically, she couldn't deal with it. She had uncontrollable crying going to the last inauguration. The lack of diversity in the room, it really struck her. So I'm pretty sure that had an effect on how she felt about this inauguration. This wasn't her first inauguration, and she definitely gave how she felt in her experience at the last one. So I'm pretty sure that had a large amount to do with it. I think she wanted her husband to attend because she didn't want him to look like Trump when he didn't attend. She wanted him to continue to go with respect. And I think that's just two people married who obviously have their marriage going their way and it works for them. And I see Obama, he's a strong man. He was able to do that by himself, the way he walked in, swagged out. You know, he always got that walk with him. It didn't seem like it bothered him at all. The boos that he got, I'm surprised you didn't hear it on there, was crazy. But yeah, like I said, she spoke on this, if you do your research on her, and it affected her mental health really bad last time, just being in the room with a certain amount of people. And I think her husband understood that, and I think she understood her husband's duties. So that's my take.
Ladies and gentlemen, former Vice Presidents, the Honorable Dan Quayle, accompanied by Mrs. Marilyn Quayle, and the Honorable Michael Pence. Ladies and gentlemen, the 42nd President of the United States, the Honorable William J. Clinton, accompanied by the Honorable Hillary Rodham Clinton. Ladies and gentlemen, the 43rd President of the United States, the Honorable George W. Bush, accompanied by Mrs. Laura Bush. Ladies and gentlemen, the 44th President of the United States, the Honorable Barack H. Obama.
There you have it. The introduction of the former presidents. I'm gonna go ahead and go to Clout, then we go to Aisha, man. What are your thoughts about this whole Michelle's missing? She didn't attend.
I agree a lot with what Viz said. I just feel as though, or I think rather, you know, I get it. You know, maybe she was sick, maybe she was doing her birthday, whatever the case was. But and maybe I'm a little old school, right? But the way I see it is like, first, just on a American front, like the inauguration is supposed to represent kind of like a ceasefire. Like it's supposed to be like a peaceful handing over of the torch, kind of. And it's supposed to show the American people, I think, that after all of this bloody politics that happened, we're all going to come together, the enemies and the friends. You know, everybody's going to come together to show respect to the new person in office, as a respect to the presidency itself, right? Outside of who's in it currently. Now, as far as my experience, the Obamas have a very polished, very clean image or brand, and I think a lot of their brand has been leveraged on them being a unified front. I also think there's a lot at stake, considering Barack Obama is the first Black president, his wife is the first Black first lady, and on top of that, we don't know if we'll ever see one again. I think also, when you add to it that one of his biggest criticisms with when dealing with Donald Trump specifically is, or the left, Donald Trump calls them, you know, weak leaders. He shouts that out a lot, that they're weak leaders. So with all that in perspective, you have these two monumental moments in American history, and the first Black lady, first lady, isn't there with no explanation for reasons that seem to be personal. And I keep hearing from people, you know, well, she has the right to do what she wants. But at the same time, she has a position that she feels that's bigger than her. Like, it's bigger than Barack, it's bigger than them. It's about America, right? So I think if we keep that into consideration, for me personally, it's a little disappointing. You know, like, to me, the message that it gives off is weak. And I think that what it does is it opens the window for people to continue to attack his presidency and his legacy. Because right now, what it looks like is, it looks like it's not a unified front. And the evidence of that is, everywhere you look, there's questions. Are they still together? Are they a divorce? What's going on? And I don't know, for two people that carried themselves in such a polished way, for there to not be a unified front, as a Black man, it's just disappointing. As an American, it's disappointing. Like, I could completely understand if the sentiment was, we're not fucking with Trump, we're not showing up. Because then, to me, that's a strong statement. That's strong. That shows strength. Even if I don't agree with it, it still shows strength. They were decisive. If they came together now, I think that would show strength, especially considering the fact that Michelle Obama has consistently been very vocal about this presidency. I actually find it a little bit cowardly that she would not face the opponent, and I find it to be bad sportsmanship. That's just my opinion. I think that when you play a good game against somebody, no matter how what y'all did in the game or however the fight was, you touch gloves at the end of the day, and you show each other respect, and you honor the new champ, however it turned out. And in this situation, I think, considering that she was so vocal, you don't get to be vocal, and you don't get to get all the benefits of being this active, well-known, prominent first lady. And then in situations where you have to continue in your duty after the presidency, now it's about your feelings. Now it's about what you want to do. I just feel like that's a little disingenuous. I think for her to be standing next to her husband, in spite of the fact that she doesn't like Trump, in spite of the fact that it gave her anxiety, I think that would show true strength. But her making one decision and him making another decision that doesn't show strength in any way. And I saw that Mike Pence, it didn't seem like Mike Pence had his woman with him. And to me, that made it actually look worse, because to me, Mike Pence is like such a weakling. And now for you to be just like him, showing up without your woman, it's like, bro, like you're Barack, bro. You're that guy. Your wife should be with you. And also, just as a black man, I feel like there needs to be a scene showing that this man who was once the most powerful man in the world, he got his house in order. His wife is with him to ride until death for whatever, don't matter how she feels. Because this is war that y'all in. This is politics. This isn't friendly. Politics is war. And you know that when you make the commitment to stand by his side when he ran for that presidency, you're in it for life, period. Now, if you don't want to be in it, play the Melania role and keep your mouth shut, stay in the background, don't show up to nothing, and just stay with the kid. Don't even be in the White House. But if you're going to be the first lady that's talking about everything and in everything, nah, you got to stand on business. You got to hold it down, in my opinion. So I don't know. I just feel like, and again, I've never seen I may not see another black president in my life, right? And one of the last images we have is him standing there by himself, getting booed, looking defeated, because he got booed on that walk-in. It didn't show it in that clip, but I saw the clip where he got booed. And to be dealing with that as a man without your wife by your side, to me, when you have a wife, is crazy. She let him take them boos by himself. But and that, to me, that's fucked up. Now, maybe they had an agreement and an understanding, but then some type of message should have been put out, or some type that still showed we are united, right? But again, that's just my opinion on it.